A decision by Sports and Physical Education Minister Adum Garwa clips the wings of the recently hatched non-Olympic Committee of Cameroon in full flight, and barely days after the contentious organization unveiled its 2014 action plan. Despite streaming verbal agitations by roving sports ambassador Albert Roger Miller to lobby for the ejection of Volker Finke from the post of coach of Cameroon's indomitable Lions, the German technician has been reassured he will be the one to lead Cameroon to Brazil 2014. And incertitude continues to loom over the exact debut date for the 2014 Elite 1 and 2 Championships in Cameroon, as a previously announced January 18 kickoff schedule now appears highly unfeasible. Gracias once again for keeping us company. Only God knows how much we appreciate your fidelity. This is Green Turf, a critical look at the latest trickles from Cameroon sports world. And so, with permission from producer Calvin Tekam and director Serge Tatemo, let's roll it! A decision signed by Sports and Physical Education Minister Adum Garwa, rendered public Thursday, January 9, 2014, has frozen the activities of the recently established Non-Olympic Committee of Cameroon. According to the Sports Buzz, the Non-Olympic Committee, hatched last October 2013 and headed by Malik Evele Atou as president, lacks authorization to exist at the national level and equally has no international backing. The decision to silence the Non-Olympic Committee follows a verbal clash that erupted late last year when Colonel Ahmad Kalkaba Malboum, president of the National Olympic and Sports Committee of Cameroon, went on air to pour scorn on the Non-Olympic Committee, referring to it as a fake and illegal entity devoid of any legitimacy. Back then, critics of the colonel accused him of scheming to retain Olympic monopoly and avoid competition. However, justifying his decision to shut up the Non-Olympic Committee last week, Adum Garwa added that its chair, Malik Atou, who occupies the post of Director of Standards and the follow-up of sporting organizations in the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, gravely flouted regulations stipulating that no official in the government department, and especially directors, can hold posts within sporting associations. The suspension came barely a week after the Non-Olympic Committee unveiled plans to organize national university games this year, as well as national games for non-Olympic disciplines dubbed Dixiad. Recent pronouncements by the so-called Professional Football League of Cameroon over the past few weeks implied the 2014 Elite League Championship will debut this January 18 with an opening game in Bamenda. But all available indicators now presage a delay in the start of the domestic football hostilities. Our sources at the league are directing accusing fingers at lateness in preparations by concerned clubs as well as dry coffers as the key factors responsible for the unavoidable postponement. The same voices indicate the league debut may be delayed until early February. And the setback is leading observers to predict another chaotic season after similar organizational lapses and a generally catastrophic 2013 championship inspired top sponsors MTN to withdraw its funding of the championship on the eve of last season. And And despite the looming chaos and the rather abstract announcement by Camtel to take over sponsorship of the competition, officials at the league and the normalization committee at Fecafoot have gone ahead to embrace the highly contentious decision of scaling up the number of teams from 14 to 18. Meantime, there is still lack of clarity on the exact number of teams to join the championship race this year, following the December 23 decision by the Conciliation and Arbitration Chamber of the National Olympic and Sports Committee rehabilitating Bamboo Toast FC of Muda. Demoted in 2007 over match-fixing charges. Officials of the club are already folding sleeves to play in the Elite 1 category this year, even when no formal decision regarding their plight has been rendered public. And so the 2014 season once again starts on a bad foot. A delegation recently dispatched to Europe with the mission of sweet-talking a couple of budding Cameroonian footballers to consider switching nationalities to play for the Indomitable Lions has encountered several stone walls of resistance. The latest case in point is a blunt snub of the idea and its bearers by Paul Georges Ntep de Madiba. The 21-year-old attacker, who has been representing France at junior categories, told French media outlets last week that joining the Indomitable Lions was not in his mind. Taking the embarrassment even further, he indicated that though Cameroon remained his birthplace, France is now his adopted country. Meantime, the dual French and Cameroon national had been targeted as a potential add-on force when the Indomitable Lions traveled to Brazil for the World Cup. But observers note that while France has promised Ntep and others huge benefits, including a likely summons for the World Cup, the experiences undergone by the likes of Willy Overtoom, who was cajoled to change his Dutch nationality and has hardly played for Cameroon ever since, constitute a major reason for Ntep's attitude. He was born in Douala on July 29, 1992 and left for France at the age of 8 to live with an aunt. Following several stints with various French clubs at the minor and junior levels, Ntep signed an internship contract with Auxerre in 2009. He was called up to the French under-18 national team in 2010 and since early 2013 plays for the French under-21 with 6 appearances and 5 goals to his credit. And so as the clocks keep on ticking endlessly, Brazil continues to draw nearer in terms of time. And at 5 months to go for the global football fiesta, a preparatory blueprint for Cameroon's Indomitable Lions has been rendered public. On the sidelines, Volker Finke can bask in contentment as well as even afford to mock at his critics, as it has been confirmed that he and no one else will lead the Indomitable Lions to their 7th World Cup expedition. Up next is Focus, our road to Brazil, a regular feature on green turf, even as the temperatures keep rising and soaring, even right here in Douala. Stay with us. In prelude to this year's World Cup slated for June and July in Brazil, a roadmap of preparations has been elaborated for the Indomitable Lions. According to the plan unveiled to the public last January 8 at the Yaoundé Multi-Sports Complex, Cameroon's homework for the 20th edition of the gathering of the world's best football-playing nations will unfold in 3 phases. Coach Volker Finke, in his characteristic humor, announced that the first phase of the blueprint has been ongoing following the country's qualification last November for the big event, with the surveillance and collection of playing time and goal-scoring data on some 42 professionals plying their trade beyond the country's borders. He revealed that the ongoing work also comprises spying and research on the activities of Cameroon's Group A World Cup adversaries, including hosts Brazil, Mexico, and of course Croatia. Phase 2 of the preparation scheduled for February will involve a 4-day talent detection camp in Yaoundé for home-based players. The second lap wraps up on March 5 with the first warm-up friendly build against Portugal in Lille, France. The final World Cup muscle flexing sprint will span April and May, when 30 retained players will be summoned to an 11-day camp from May 20 to 31 in Austria, with 2 friendlies being arranged between a team from the ex-Yugoslavia and another from Central Europe, all resembling Croatia in their play styles. On June 1, Cameroon confront the national Mannschaft of Germany in another friendly, a day before the publication of the definitive list of the country's 23 World Cup flag bearers. On June 4, the team will head off to their base in Natal in southeastern Brazil for yet another pipeline friendly after a farewell exhibition match at the Yaoundé Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Last month, and on the back of Cameroon's qualification for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, retired emblematic Indomitable Lions goal poacher Albert Roger Miller typically opted to fan the flames of polemics again by launching calls for the ejection of German tactician Volker Finke from the post of coach of the team. Reports back then indicated that the roving sports ambassador, advisor to President Paul Biya and star of the Italian 90 World Cup, had even taken it upon himself to organize a grand lobby to see his wish come to fruition. Weeks after the controversy, however, there is every reason to believe that Miller has been cold-shouldered by the country's sports authorities. At a ceremony to unveil the Indomitable Lions roadmap of preparations for Brazil 2014 last week in the capital Yaoundé, Professor Joseph Owona, president of the Normalization Committee currently running affairs at the Cameroon Football Federation, reassured Volker Finke, urging him to remain focused as the countdown to the global football showpiece gradually begins narrowing. In fact, Owona actually and rather jokingly instructed Finke, who has been coaching Cameroon since May last year, to work towards improving on the offensive prowess of the squad, fine-tune the usually criticized right and left defense flanks, as well as pinpoint attacking alternatives to Samuel Eto'o. And despite the reassurances accorded the German, Miller has remained persistent in his clamors for Finke's sack, insisting he is not the right man to lead Cameroon to their 7th World Cup experience. Drop us a line if you got thoughts to share at Green Turf at canal2international.net. And don't you forget, there's always a Green Turf rerun at exactly 10:30 a.m. Friday Cameroon time. Now, beyond the country's borders, officials at French Ligue 1 side Olympique Marseille are reluctant to sell defender Nicolas Nkoulou to Serie A club Napoli, even after the Italians proposed 7.8 billion francs CFA last week. Stick around with us for these and lots more.
Production.
Olympique Marseille have turned down an initial financial offer by Italian club Napoli proposed last week in a bid to obtain the services of Cameroonian defender Nicolas Nkulu. News of the Serie A side's interest in the 23-year-old central defender hit the headlines about a fortnight ago, and initially, Marseille demonstrated reluctance on letting Nkulu off their hook. Last week, Napoli announced they were prepared to cough up over 12 million euro, that's above 7.8 billion francs CFA, to purchase the Cameroonian. But Marseille president Vincent Labrune says his team is not ready to part ways with Nkulu, considered much more expensive than the Italian financial offer. Labrune revealed that Napoli actually made the proposition since mid-December 2013, adding that there is little chance Nkulu will leave the Stade Velodrome anytime soon. Nkulu's superlative performance in recent years, his maturity, and an overall high sense of the game have contributed in charming an extending list of managers and fueling speculation over his likely departure from Marseille over the past couple of months. Spades of rumors announcing his transfer last year mentioned interest from Arsenal, FC Barcelona, Chelsea, AC Milan, Manchester City, and recently AS Monaco and Bayern Munich. But Marseille president Labrune has repeatedly vowed no amount of money will buy the lad away. Nkulu joined Olympique Marseille on a 4-year deal from Monaco in 2011, and football makers say he is the only one with the last word amid the flaring scramble for his services. Yaya Toure was last week designated African Footballer of the Year for 2013 for a third successive time. The Ivory Coast and Manchester City midfielder outsmarted Nigeria's John Obi Mikel and Didier Drogba at the Distinction Award ceremony held in Lagos, Nigeria on January 9. Unable to hold back flooding tears of presumable joy, Toure voiced immense contentment for the hat-trick distinction. He emerged top in a poll voted by Africa's national team coaches. Among others, the former FC Barcelona midfielder has been heaped praise for helping the Elephants of the Ivory Coast qualify for next year's World Cup in Brazil, and also for the consistency and dominant role he continues to play at English Premier League side Manchester City. Meanwhile, Mikel was shortlisted for helping Nigeria win the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations. So far, only Abedi Pele of Ghana and Cameroon Samuel Eto'o have succeeded in winning the title 3 straight times. Pele grabbed the award 3 times between 1991 and 1993, while Eto'o was crowned African Best Player a similar number of times from 2003 to 2005. He again took home the distinction for a record 4th time in 2010. Observers here agree the absence of any Cameroonian player on the awards shortlist is another clear indicator of the decline of the country's football prowess over the last 4 years. No matter what they say to me, I'm gonna make my money. And anyone who don't believe, best stay away. Cristiano Ronaldo is winner of the 2013 FIFA Ballon d'Or. The Portuguese international, currently plying his trade at Spanish La Liga side Real Madrid, took home the prestigious award Monday in Zurich, bringing an end to arch-rival Lionel Messi's 4-year uninterrupted run as the world's best footballer. Unable to hold back tears of ecstasy, Ronaldo, who was flanked on the podium by his son, also named Cristiano, said he lacked words to describe the moment. Last year, He scored a total 69 goals for Real Madrid and Portugal, including an outstanding hat-trick against Sweden that helped his country book a place for Brazil 2014. The exploits helped Ronaldo trounce Barcelona's Messi of Argentina and Frank Ribéry of Bayern Munich and France. The selection was conducted by national team captains and coaches, as well as selected journalists in the 209 FIFA member countries. The World Best Footballer Award is Ronaldo's second and comes 5 years after he first won the award while playing at Manchester United. Critics nonetheless claim that Ronaldo was highly favored after FIFA extended the balloting deadline beyond the World Cup playoffs in November and allowed voters to change their preferences.
Warren G had to regulate.
Focus is another regular feature on Green Turf, and in this edition we bank on some major happenings in Cameroon sports world in 2013 to leap and project into 2014 with an attempt to tell you what you can expect to be the outcome as the months continue to crawl by. Just around the corner, Focus 2014 prospects, Cameroon sports world. After surviving the short-lived FIFA embargo in July 2013, fans and analysts of Cameroon's indomitable lions are rubbing their palms in meditation and expectation of an honorable expedition come June in Brazil. But looming around the corner are tall prospects of dangerous fireworks which could once again jeopardize the country's protractedly bedridden football if elections at the Cameroon Football Federation slated for March 31 were to turn sour again. Already, mild agitation in prelude to the usually contentious polls are already surfacing, and any government meddling may compromise the country's 7th World Cup appearance, an event for which President Biya has already turned up the heat on Samuel Eto'o and his teammates, pressurizing them to once again thrill the nation by emulating the exploits of their Spain 1982 and Italian 1990 precursors. And in the weeks ahead, all eyes will be turning in the direction of the Normalization Committee to bear witness to Professor Joseph Owona's claims and public attributions of decency and morality amid allegations he has been conspiring to overstay his welcome at the caretaker body imposed by FIFA in July with an 8-month mandate to manage Fecafoot, rewrite controversial sections of its statutes, arrange elections, and then quit by a March 31 deadline. Elsewhere, the currently cash-strapped and so-called Professional Football League of Cameroon, headed by Provisionary Management Committee, manned by General Pierre Semenge and co, appears incapable of surmounting the calamitous organization that plunged domestic football into chaos last year. 2014 marks the third professional football experience for the Elite 1 and 2 championships, orphaned at the dusk of 2013 with the pullout of sponsors MTN. So far, the announced financial patronage of the league by Camtel has remained rhetoric, obliging a delay of the heralded January 18 debut of the 2014 season. And away from football, which fetched Cameroon nothing more than a Continental Champions League semi-final berth for Cotton Sport of Garwa and the World Cup qualification ticket for the Indomitable Lions last year. Many are waiting to see if the multiple flaws committed in 2013 and which earned the boxing, rugby and cycling federations among other suspensions from international activity will be rectified and avoided. Early on in the year, and precisely as from later this month, the national men's and women's handball selections will bear the country's flag at the African Nations Championships slated for Algeria from January 14 to 26. While officials at the Cameroon Handball Federation indicate preparations have been ongoing hitch-free, the temperament within the ranks of the national men's volleyball squad has been uncertain. Between February 14 and March 1, the team will partake in the last round qualifiers for the World Cup in the discipline for the Africa zone. The tournament has been built for the Yaoundé Multi-Sports Complex, and training for the volleyball selection has been calamitous, with a camp initially slated for Europe simply annulled for want of money, and coach Peter Nonenbroch only paid 5 months' worth of salary arrears late this week by the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. Meanwhile, tidings of great joy for challengers of Mount Cameroon are expected next month when brewery giants Diageo Guinness Cameroon return to sponsor the Race of Hope. Trickling information suggests better organization and, above all, huge rewards for the race's best athletes to the tune of 10 million francs CFA. Before then, several qualifying races like the Montmetu race in the West region will be staged, even as Cameroon folds sleeves to host part of the Amisa Bongo cycling race this January. And as 2014 continues to reveal itself with illustrations of wasted taxpayers' money lodged in uncompleted and collapsed edifices, including the Douala Gymnasium, sportsmen and women as well as pundits continue to ask one question: is Adum Garwa the right man at the right place?
And so that's where we'll be putting the wraps on this week's installment of Green Turf. When we come back next week on Tuesday, we'll probably be telling you whether or not Cameroon International, he's not Cameroon International yet, Paul-Georges Ntep de Madiba is going to agree to play for English Premier League side Arsenal. We hear officials at that club are preparing to cough up £8 million for the lad who recently snubbed an invitation to play for Cameroon. We should also be telling you something about the ongoing crisis at Canon Sportive of Yaoundé. A splinter group is struggling to kick out board chair Celine Eko, even as the normalization committee at Feka Food says it only recognizes the board chair. Don't you forget, every time one door is closed, there are many more that are wide open. Until next week then, Shalom!